Hey, crypto heads, nerds, hodlers, and enthusiasts from around the world. What's going on? It's Jeremy Alexander with IR4, back from about a week and a half worth of vacation. And I figured it would be only appropriate on this Tuesday, as normal, to knock out for you a coin review. Let's talk Bitcoin and just chat about what she's been doing. And honestly, nothing too crazy. From the last time we started chatting, which was really back in here, I mentioned that we would consolidate in between these long-term moving averages for a while. I do think this is an accumulation phase, and that's what accumulation phases do. They get very boring, they trade sideways, and they spook out eager bulls. So again, just keep in mind you had a phenomenal and just incredible bull market, huge run up, and really for all intents and purposes, we've been trading sideways for 3 months. Sideways, down. We've been trading down for 3 months, which is not a long time. And you can see the red trend line definitely acted as a really good resistance, still is. And what we're doing now is we're forming a very nice pennant pattern, which again, I'm expecting to break one way or another very soon, probably in a few days. And if it does break lower, we're going to trade back down to 6,000. And really at that particular point, here's the weekly. Exponential moving averages on the weekly with Bitcoin. Again, we really could bounce around and pause around the 50 EMA on the weekly, which is about 7,300, making it back down, making my way downtown. If we trade down to about the 6,000 level, makes sense. And again, the 100 simple on the weekly is at 35. So believe it or not, even if we just absolutely cataclysmically get a massive pullback all the way to 35, that's still an incredible price for Bitcoin. And you can still make some really good gains and quick fluctuations in the overall moves. So for example, at this particular location, I do plan on starting to accumulate some Bitcoin at the 200 again, very similar to what it did not too terribly long ago. So just something to keep your eyes out for. It is a little bit, sideways at the moment, it's chopping around, but that is just purely an accumulation phase. That's what it does. It'll be down here for a while longer. It's only mid-March, and you know how it could take 1 month for Bitcoin to regain its entire $20,000 highs overall. So I honestly do expect a few more months of action like this. So prepare to get bored, prepare to start studying, make some quick in and out moves if you get a chance, and if you have your longer term positions, just keep holding. Here's Ethereum, and Ethereum as well, a little bit of a pennant pattern. Actually, Ethereum is the one that has not hit its 200 simple since way back here in this flash crash back in June 2017. And I think it's going to come down to the 200. It'd be a very, very good spot for it to get down to about 600 and some change. And that's probably a decent spot to maybe start buying one or two. And it's really about it for Ethereum. I mean, this downward trend line held up really well. It came into a very crucial spot as it was just trading very sideways, really doing nothing. And as it approached that trend line, it was either going to pop or break lower. And this was the chart that I posted back on March 2nd. And again, if you trade this with margin or you look to short it, I mean, you could have had a good little opportunity to snag some on the downside because there was the breakdown. And again, right now, I still think we're probably going to trade into the 200. And then from there, probably a good place to start accumulating. Litecoin, LTC USD, down 1.78%. Again, same thing. Phenomenal opportunities for some quick traders to make some money throughout here. And even throughout here, if you were fast enough, just off the 100, just again, quick 10, 20% type of gains. But from here, this is a really good support right here on Litecoin, this 161 area. That's the support from around this wick, this candle, obviously that candle. So we could trade back down there, trade to the 200 again, probably would still be more of a spot to start buying some dips, but realistically, looking at some of the coins, they just look a little still on the weak side. After a huge run up like this, it only makes sense for it to chop around, be boring, get some of the bulls who don't care about this stuff long term, get the people who are in it for instant profit, get rich quick scheme, the Facebook selling their classes and courses, advertisements, get all those people off the boat. And then as we chop around, again, it could last the rest of the year, even longer. But overall, the volume that came in And the gargantuan moves that happen on these coins, it's just almost makes it impossible for it to just absolutely collapse. Now we could trade down low. We could get some really nice lows on Litecoin down here to the 97s or back to the 80s. But remember, I mean, it was back at the 20s, this time last year, a year ago, right? So if we do pull back down to the 30, the 90s and 100s and 80s, if you got in all the way up 300 and 400 and you're just holding on, I mean, I'm sorry. But the good news is, at least if it does get down to a nice low level and it gets that choppy and that sideways momentum, this is going to be a market that will last for a long time, at least the main 4 or 3. And, again, keep in mind that you can really zoom into these moves, 4 hours and 1 hour charts, and you can make some quick, fun gains pretty nicely. So here's Litecoin on the 4 hour. And you have that, again, as I mentioned earlier, that support about 145, and you got the support down here about 106. And let's just keep an eye out for a quick pop down into that level, because we're right now failing that support resistance from here. So down to 145, maybe pick up some, get a little bit of a pop, rolls back down to 100 potentially. Again, look for a little bit of a pop. And same type of play. It just all depends on how you end up moving this one. Ripple had some rumors that was going to come on and trade on Coinbase, and those rumors got pretty quickly squashed. So you had a nice little pop right there, and then it just meandered lower. So here's the long-term moving averages, and again, we actually haven't hit the 200 on Ripple since the breakout. Got very close back here in February. So I think Ripple probably trades down to the 200, and again, you'll likely see some buying on Ripple off of that particular price. EOS XBT, just chilling right now. So I got some buy orders down here around the 0.5 200 simple moving average. Definitely picking up some on this pullback. Here's EOS US dollar in Kraken and Bitfinex, but Kraken has it at 570. And again, here's the moving averages. So it bounced off the 10 very quickly, breaking down, pulling down to the 50 now. And then you got the long-term moving averages haven't even been formed yet, at least on EOS Kraken. Now, if you go EOS USD and you hop that over to Bitfinex, also still chilling right there at that 200 simple. And so again, nothing happens forever. These run-ups, if you didn't get a chance to get in before September, October, November, you probably bought a little bit of a high price, and you're just gonna have to hold through some of those. Find some dollar cost average opportunities if you want to. A great, fantastic time to do some research, do some reading, see which one's your favorite, play them, and play them appropriately. Here's Dash. Dash, I meant to put US dollars. Dash US dollars on Kraken. Here's the daily. This one did break its 200, which is pretty interesting on Dash. Here's the weekly chart. And again, this one has only been around about a year on Kraken with the US dollar. So we're not talking about a very long time at all. But here's kind of the trend line, and it looks like it's likely going to pull back down to the mid threes. Here's your exponential moving averages. Doesn't even have the 50 yet on the weekly. And again, the daily just looks a little bit on the weaker side. So expecting some slight more sideways to down moves on most of the coins, unless of course some really good piece of news comes out and this thing just absolutely starts rocket shipping. But I don't expect that to happen on most of these. And let's see, I can look at Monero. So here's Monero dollar on also Bitfinex. Very choppy Monero is, but is a little bit stronger, kind of like Ethereum. Only bouncing off the 200 simple once back in February. That was a fantastic move. I mean, again, going from about 170 to about 360. So I mean, you were able to make some good coinage in that move. So maybe if it pulls back to 212, you can try it again. Otherwise, a really good support right back here at 150 on Monero. And last but not least, we'll look at Stellar. So here's XLM USD, which did make it back to Kraken not too long ago, sitting at 30 cents. So Stellar had a high of about 50 cents, getting some good pullbacks. But here's XLM XBT if you're buying your Stellar with Bitcoin through Kraken. And again, relatively strong, holding itself up pretty well. Big channel, obviously old resistance, new support kind of coming in here, acting as, well, just that. So if this does break down, which it looks like it will, there's a support here about 0.28 IR4. She breaks down 0.1908. It's likely the next scenario. And then, of course, things can get pretty hairy from there. I mean, we could trade all the way back down to the bottom of this channel. It's always possible. Very speculative markets. It's brand new, so be patient, be calm. Interested to see exactly what happens from here. But folks from around the world, thanks so much for tuning in to your coin market update. Next vacation is in late to mid-April. So I'll be here every Tuesday for free between now and then. And of course, for those who subscribe to the IR4 podcast, new episodes coming out every Thursday and coin updates on Saturdays. Folks from around the world, you are awesome. Have a great rest of your week. And until next time, love, live, learn. You guys rock. Bye.